Now, the election is coming up. Your Democratic opponent, Abby Broyles, has challenged you to several debates. Are you going to debate Ms. Broyles?
Well, no, I don't think so. It's not. There are 5 people in the race, and the individuals, the way it's stacked up, you do have one far left Democrat, and then you have 3 others. You have me, then you have 3 others that are going to be acting like conservatives. So it'd be a little bit uneven. It'd be 4 to 1, and that's not the way it's supposed to be. But we're going to be in good shape.
I know that she is looking forward to speaking with you.
People do not realize that that when they go to vote on the 3rd of November, that there will be 5 people running for the United States Senate. No one realizes that, and that's why it wouldn't be workable at all to have 5 people debating.
Well, I know that question was for my opponent, Jim Inhofe, and the day after we won our primary with historic turnout, I called for 25 debates. I've knocked that down now to 6 debates, but Jim Inhofe told you he's not going to debate me at all. And the excuse he gave was because there are a total of 5 people in the race. Well, turns out he's always had more opponents in his races, and he has always debated the Democratic opponent. What's different about this year? He's debated his Democratic opponent since 1996. Is it because I'm a woman?
Okay. Sir, tonight at 7 p.m., we're going to air our Project Community, examining the state of race in our state. Senator, I have to ask you, a big topic in this project that we're working on, do you believe Black Lives Matter?
Of course. I think all lives matter.
Absolutely, Black Lives Matter. I know my opponent refuses to say it, but I stand proud as an ally with the Black community.
Well, do you believe that there is a systemic racism problem that needs to be addressed and that there is change that needs to be done right here in our state?
I think there are a lot of things that are going on right now that people are taking advantage of a real tragedy that took place. And I think I'll just leave it there because other people believe that also, but they don't talk about it. So let's just let time take care of that. We do a good job in Oklahoma. And, right now we have serious problems going on around other states. Right now in Portland, Oregon, you have terrorists that have taken over a state, and the elected officials are afraid of them. People don't like the sheriffs and all the law enforcement officers, and yet what I'm doing around the state of Oklahoma today and tomorrow and last week is sitting down with the sheriffs, with the police officers, letting them know that what I said on the floor of the United States Senate, that we love our law enforcement officers in Oklahoma, and it's not like it is in some of the other states. So that is a serious problem that's going on, that we are ahead of the game here in Oklahoma.
Absolutely, we have a problem with systemic racism. Look at the disparities in our criminal justice system, in healthcare. Look at the disparities in education and housing. We are finally having important, meaningful conversations. We need leaders who are going to call out injustice when we see it, so that everyone can have equality under the law.
So, Senator Inhofe, we know where you stand when it comes to the police department and those movements to defund police departments. So instead, what do you think needs to be done to address these issues that organizations like Black Lives Matter and other organizations to have this conversation with law enforcement, to have this conversation about change? We know you don't believe in defunding the police, so what do you think needs to happen here?
Well, what's being done, we're in Canadian County with the sheriff and with the citizens groups. We brought them together out there. We're going to do the same thing tomorrow in McAllister, and we'll be with the sheriffs down there and with the groups. Tonight we'll be with the sheriff of Tulsa and with citizens groups. Here, all they need to do is sit down together and talk. We did this, and every time that this has happened, it's turned out in a very favorable light. People, they love the law enforcement people in Oklahoma. I can't really do much in Portland, Oregon, but I can in Oklahoma. And I can say that that's a problem that we don't have here. And it's all, I think, a result of people sitting down together and talking with each other. And that's happening today.
I know my opponent has spent a lot of time talking about Portland, Oregon. He talked about it in your interview, and he talked about Portland on the Senate floor. Makes sense because he is completely out of touch with Oklahomans. We desperately need change. This is a reality that Jim Inhofe refuses to face. In his own words, he has said ethnic and racial profiling are good things. Look, I do not support dismantling police departments. I do support meaningful police reform. This is one sector where we cannot have a few bad apples. Just like American Airlines can't have a few bad pilots, we cannot have a few racist police officers.
Stimulus money that so many people need. A lot of Oklahomans haven't even gotten their first round of stimulus checks. Where do we stand on that right now, and how likely is Congress to come to an agreement?
Well, see, that's the problem. Right now, nothing is happening. You know, that's why I'm here, because the group that's supposed to be negotiating this thing, they've come up against a brick wall. The Democrats will not accept anything up there. And as they said in their own convention, that way we can blame the president that it's not happening again. We've gone through 4 of the efforts that have come out with helping people out. But as it is right now, I've got a list of things right now. The kids go back to school, all this, these are things that may or may not happen. The Americans going back to work, the people's health, the liability protections, that will be a part of it if we end up with the results. Where right now they're hung up on the salary thing, because a lot of complaints that we get and you hear about is people are actually doing better by not working than working. And this is not healthy, it's not American, and we're going to keep that from happening. One way to do that is to drop down that $600 additional money that people are getting to a lower figure so that they don't profit by not working. Now that's going on right now. We know the president's trying to split it down the middle, but that's an issue that is significant. Now, it could very well, there won't be another round. Now that's something that people don't talk about, but I don't see that end in sight right now. I don't see a level of cooperation between the Democrats and the Republicans, and it is the Democrats who admittedly are not working to accomplish anything because they feel they can just blame the president for it. Highly political right now, shouldn't be happening, but it is happening.
Yeah, I've listened to so many of those Oklahomans who still haven't received their stimulus checks. I've stood in the unemployment lines and talked to people out of work. We value hard work in Oklahoma, and those folks desperately want jobs. But for now, they were counting on that $600 a week. That put food on the table, it paid the mortgage, it kept the lights on. Jim Inhofe won't support any of that, doesn't think they're worth $600 a week. Congress must act now. Our small business owners need those dollars from the Paycheck Protection Program. And our public schools desperately need that funding so our kids and teachers can safely go back to school.
Sir, one more question for you. We don't have a lot of time left, but this recent budget cuts at the U.S. Postal Service drawing a lot of criticism. Some arguing it's being done in an effort to undermine the election by slowing down mail-in ballots. President Trump says he isn't trying to limit the agency, rather rebuild it. What is your take? Do you support mail-in voting? Where are you on this issue?
Okay. I'm sorry. You went off the air there for a minute. I could not hear what you said.
Sure.
Would you repeat it, please?
Yes, absolutely, sir. So recent budget cuts at the U.S. Postal Service drawing a lot of criticism. Some are arguing that it's being done in an effort to undermine the election by slowing down mail-in ballots. President Trump says he isn't trying to limit the agency, rather rebuild it. We're asking, what is your take, and do you support mail-in voting?
Well, first of all, you know, the whole thing is so phony because the individuals that they are talking about is an individual that was chosen by the Board of Governors of the Post Office. This is highly, it's not in any way biased. It's not partisan in any way. It wasn't done by the president. It was done by the Board of Governors, and apparently that person is doing a good job. Now, the Democrats are trying to say that the president is deliberately trying to slow down the mail. That's just outrageous, but they can get by with everything because the media hates the president so much. And that is just, I can't tell you how bad that is when you actually had a fact check that was done by USA Today, and they said that that is not true at all, that the president is not involved in trying to slow things down. He's trying to speed things up. And yet, this president didn't get a fair shake.
Yes, I support mail-in voting, and apparently so does Jim Inhofe. He has voted by mail 76% of the time since 1998. If voting by mail is good enough for Jim Inhofe, it's good enough for every single voter in Oklahoma. The Postmaster General needs to bring back every mechanism to make voting by mail possible this election cycle. We are still in the middle of a pandemic, and so many people will be voting by mail this year. Let's call it what it is. The efforts that have gone on over the past several weeks is nothing short of voter suppression. Jim Inhofe doesn't want you to think your vote counts, but it does. It's going to take all of us coming together and turning out to vote this year. This is the most important election of our lifetimes.
Senator Inhofe, we appreciate you taking the time and joining us this Tuesday morning. We hope you have a great day.
Thank you so much for your time. It was great to talk with you, and I look forward to joining my opponent, Jim Inhofe, in our first debate.